Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome back to Chilliwack, British Columbia for another episode of the Canadian Cattle Farmer. We have moved forward into May. We were in April last time you saw us, and we have just been down and cleared the alfalfa hay off the field. Got all those picked up and loaded, 25 bales that we collected there, which is good. That is a good help for our feed situation. Now, a couple of honest little moments I'm just going to make with you. I'd made an error when we bought the silage bales last time, and I actually bought whole crop silage, which cost a significant amount more than grass silage. So we've actually had a little bit of a boost to our money. I thought when I bought it they cost more than I expected grass silage would cost, so there we are. We did make a little bit of a faux pas there, and we've rectified that. Now the other thing I've also done, I've made a small tweak to Maize Plus and the Maize Plus Animal add-on that I'm running, and have slightly reduced by 50% all of the feed requirements for our animals. Not that I didn't want to, but it's just the demand for it and everything like that. The fact we can only put 100,000 litres into the, or 60,000 litres, sorry, 60,000 litres at a time into the cattle pastures has just meant that we've been spending a lot of time off camera making food and getting that delivered. Even though the auto drive course is working quite well, it has been quite a laborious task in between episodes. So for that I have made a bit of a reduction and changed things down, so just to let you know that. Now, while we come along here, our field here on the left, we do have a little bit of an issue with the clover, and I don't know whether that is something to do with the way the growth cycles are set up for the clover on the map, but I have skipped forward time without saving to pretty much a year from now, and the clover is only just starting to germinate. So there must be something not quite right with the growth cycles around when we planted it and when it's harvestable. So we are going to have to wait another 12 months for that clover to be ready. I did have a look and see if there was another crop we could have planted in there in advance of it and replace that and get the clover planted again at another stage, but it just wasn't worth it. So we are going to have to go without any clover for some time. Now fortunately it is grass silage is our critical requirement for our feed mix, along with the maize silage, and we are going to have plenty of grass once that field in behind the yard is all ready to harvest. So not too much of a worry. I mean, it's a little bit frustrating to not have the clover, but it is what it is, and we'll just have to make do and get past it. But we're going to get these unloaded here at the yard. We need to go and pick up the grass silage bales which are fermenting over by the other cattle pen, and we will go and bring those over and get them put away. And then our main task today as we drive up to this field is actually to spray the weeds in here in the corn on our right. We need to get down there with the sprayer and get some herbicide spread over those. So that is what we are going to be doing very soon. So I'll carry on, get all this unloaded, delivered here into our feed area, and we'll be back over into the John Deere and doing some spraying very, very soon. So our alfalfa bales delivered, and we've come over and picked up our silage bales. They are, I think, about 20% fermented, so they're still a wee way away from being able to be used. Not too far though. Hopefully we'll be able to get in and get them used very, very soon, because we have used up all the silage bales we did buy as well, which is really our big need is to try and get these in. Now, just while we're standing here, I was just going to have a quick look at the animals and give you a quick update on their progress. So you can see all the animals are in a good production, all 100% health, and in various stages of reproduction. Actually, we've got these Holsteins here which are 40% of the way through reproduction, so counting down the months until we will start getting some more animals, which will be good. All the pens do have full slurry though, which I did have someone comment to say that we weren't going to get any milk off them, but we do still seem to be producing milk, and as you can see there, we've already got 55,000 litres out of the two lots of Holsteins. So we're still getting milk produced there, which is good. And like I said, our food requirements have gone down just a little bit with that adjustment that I made to the XML. So everything is all trucking along very, very well there, and I think I'm feeling a little bit more confident about keeping on top of those feed demands with that little tweak. Now if anyone's interested in finding out more about how I've done that, let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to do a little instructional video, or there might even be some out there. I know Disturbed Simulations has done some fantastic work with the Maize Plus system and all of those, so he may even have a video which shows you what needs to be done. But there we are all loaded up. That car, I can guarantee, will pause right there like every other one has. Indeed it did, and then it decided to move again, but we're going to head on over to the farm. We'll get these ones unloaded and then we'll be into the spraying. So There we are, all unloaded. 34% fermented are these grass bales, so 3,000 litres of silage in each of those, which is good. And we've had to put the alfalfa hay over here. These are a little bit bigger, but they won't go into the shed, unfortunately, because it is configured for grass hay. I could have reconfigured this one here to not be straw, but I am aware that we do have the oats over the road, which we're going to go and put some straw in, get baled into some straw as well, so we'll need somewhere to put those back in. So they'll make do. That's not a bad little spot, actually, along the side of the barn there to have those bales all stored. Anyhow, we're going to head on over here. You can already see there in front of you, we've got the sprayer out and ready to go. We need to go and put a little bit of herbicide in it. We've only got a very small amount in there, so we'll go get it topped up and we'll be over into the fields getting the corn and all the barley or oats. Is it barley or oats? I can't remember now exactly, but we'll get the crop over there done as well. I had to check, it's oats, 133 and 134, both have oats. So while we're in here, let's just take a very quick look at where we do have weeds to deal with. As it sinks there, 133, 134 and 135 all have weeds, except for the areas we ploughed, which was the additions to the field along the strip there and down the edge. Then I think also down here on 195 we'll get over and get the weeds sprayed over in that one as well. So a few areas we need to deal with, but nothing too major at this stage. So we've got 235 litres of herbicide now. I'm wondering actually, I think we might have some fertiliser in the tank already, so we may not be able to buy any herbicide through that. We'll have to go and have a look, and if we can't, we might have to head on down to the co-op and go and pick up some herbicide that way. Let's just go and have a quick look. I do think from previous memory we've got it in there from the planter. And we do. There's 131 litres of liquid fertiliser in there. It's almost worth seeing if there's a way we could pump that out and put it into a tote or something like that, rather than having to run all the way down to the shop. Let's go and have a look. Well, as it turns out, it looks like we might be able to buy some herbicide, which we can buy that, and we've now got 2,000 litres of herbicide and the liquid fertiliser in there, so it's actually not a bad little tank. Obviously not very realistic having two different types of liquid in there, but the ability to have both stored in it is quite nice. I do like that. So let's just have a look here if we can see about getting this filled up, and then we can go off and start doing some spraying. And there we are, getting herbicide into the back of the sprayer. So we'll fill this up. In fact, we'll take all 2,000 litres out, and we'll see how far that goes in getting these crops all sprayed and getting all the weeds taken care of. So we'll go straight over the road and into the cornfield. Alright, we're getting everything all unfolded here. Now this is one of the sections that doesn't actually have any weeds in it, but of course with the see and spray technology we do have here on the sprayer, it won't matter if we run over it anyhow. But I am just mindful of how much further that boom is going to wind out there on the left hand side, so we're just going to move ourselves away from the edge of the field just a little bit more. And there we go. Now, which one is the up and down on the back? There we go. Get that lowered down so it's a little bit closer to the ground. We don't get any unnecessary spray drift, and we should be able to turn that on, power it up, get the pump running, and as we run along here should start to see some spray coming out. There we go, as we hit the weeds. So that's looking perfect. I am going to set myself up on a GPS course along here and start running around this field and get this all done. So we'll turn that on, have ourselves a little A point there, make sure I'm running pretty straight along the row. That looks pretty good to me. Set up the second point and we'll turn that on, get our width set. We turn our lines up. It hasn't quite set, and I know exactly why that is. It's a keybind conflict with another piece of software I have on my PC. So there we are. We'll do it the manual way through guidance steering and set our auto width at 117 foot. So there we are. We will carry on, get into this field, race around here, and then we'll be just jumping straight over into the oats over the other side. Alright, and there we are all up and going, not chewing through too much herbicide or anything like that either. So, I think it's time for a montage. Nothing beats a spraying montage here with this good looking piece of machinery. So, we'll jump into that, we will get through this field and then into the oats, and we'll catch up with you when we're all done. Running down the last little sliver here in the oat field, you can see the little band of weeds there in front of us that we're going to get. This is where the see and spray technology really comes into its own, where you've got an overlap either side of areas you've already sprayed and you're only applying spray exactly where you need to. So you can see we've used only just over 1,000 litres of herbicide to cover this whole field, which well, runs all the way down to the trees down there where the other side of the corn is. So not a bad effort there. Definitely makes it worthwhile rather than applying blanket herbicide over everything. So there we go. We'll get that turned off. We'll start folding up the booms, and we're going to head on down to the other field and go and get that one done very quickly. That won't take very long. It will be a little bit of a challenge because it has a couple of narrow little spots in it, but won't take us very long at all. And that will just about be us done for the tasks we have on hand at the moment. I have one other thing we're going to do once we've finished doing the spraying, and it's to do with the alfalfa field. So we'll go over and do the spraying, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat about what we're going to go and do there. So we made it down here to the other field. We'll get things unfolded. Now I'm hoping if we run hard against the fence for the cattle pasture with the boom raised, we can get through that gap. Otherwise it's going to be just a little bit of a tight fit. But we'll do this big patch of weeds here on the right, get rid of those, and then we will head on down through and on the way down that way. Now I hadn't actually recalled what the crop was up in this one, but we've got corn up here. I wasn't sure if it was corn or oats we'd planted up this way. So a little bit more feed for the animals coming up out of this field. Let's just get that turned on. We'll head on over this way, do this little patch in the corner, then we'll spin around, make sure we just get all of this area done in one go. Hopefully I'm not going to hit that tree. Not quite, it was close. We will just quickly whip over here. Alright, and there we go. Now, fingers crossed, lift that all back up to its full height, and we should be able to, in fact I think we can lift the boom up like that if we need to, but we should be able to run through here without any dramas, and in fact we can even spray the few little weeds that we've got in there while we're doing it. So that's worked out perfectly. There we go, get that lowered back down, drop the overall boom all the way down, and we're just going to race around and get this field done very quickly. So we'll see when we're finished. Like I said, it wasn't going to take very long to get that one done at all. There we are, all finished. So we've used 200 litres of herbicide or so in there, not much. So we'll get this all folded up and we will head on back to the yard. Now I think this has deserved a little bit of a clean off. It's done a power of work, and we do want to make sure we get all that herbicide off the booms, around the nozzles and everything like that. Don't want any residue left on. I don't know when we'll have this out again doing spraying. We certainly don't need it in any of our crops at this stage, so it could be a wee while before we need it again. So we'll make sure we give it a good clean off around both sides. We will go around the other side and give it a wash as well, but we'll go and get it parked up in the shed, and then we're going to jump into the New Holland, the T8. We're going to cruise on down to the alfalfa field, and we're going to stop in at the dealer on the way past. We've got a piece of equipment we are going to borrow. We've leased that off them, and going to use that for just a little while down in that field, and well, all will become a little bit more obvious once we get down there. We're just pulling in down here to the alfalfa field, and we have got ourselves a mulcher we have gone and leased from the dealer just to do this field, $1,200 or so. I think it might have been a little bit more, $1,300 possibly, but we've gone for this one. The reason we're running it on the T8, it's the only tractor that has the horsepower to run it. It does require 200 horsepower to get in there. It does unfold, and we'll put that down and turn it on. But the reason we are mulching, now if you have a look in here as that unfolds, our field state at the moment is showing up as harvested, so we're not regrowing it. We know that. We've mown it. It was turned into hay, and we've got alfalfa hay off the field. But it is still showing up as harvested. Now, I'm going to turn on the mulcher, get that lowered down, just zoom out a little bit more. You can see, as we run over it, we're getting rid of the cut texture and going back to just the plain green. Now we'll just run along the edge of the field here just a little bit further. Just stop there. Now if we hop into the map here again, you can see where we've just mulched has turned green, and that green relates to growing. Turn it off, there you go, it's gone. So anyone who is interested, and I know this is a comment I've had on a couple of videos, and is using alfalfa, and I think this applies across the board, whether it's on this map, UMRV, or anywhere else, you do need to mulch your alfalfa to get another growth stage off. It's a little bit different to grass, but by doing this, we are going to get the alfalfa growing again. We're going to be able to get it mown and cut into another round of hay, silage, or whatever we choose to do with it. So there you go. Hopefully that might have helped some of you with some of the questions I've had around the alfalfa and whether we were going to see it grow again. So we're just going to carry on. We do have plenty of horsepower, but it's still a pretty slow task at 7 miles per hour. We'll get around the field and get through this as quick as we can. So we'll jump into a little bit of a time lapse doing it, and we'll catch you in just a little while. Well, there we go. That is a job well done. Got a couple of little spots we need to go around and tidy up, which we missed. It doesn't have a very good turning circle on this New Holland. I don't know whether it's the tracks or just the size of the tractor, but it does take up a little bit of space when I was trying to turn on a narrow row. It wasn't working out too well. So we'll just shoot around very quickly and get these last couple of little pieces all tidied up. I'm not sure. I think there might have been one or two down the other end of the field. We'll go and check out those two. But before we do that, we'll just jump into the map and just take a quick look. And there you go, you can now see that pretty much our whole field, apart from those couple of stripes we need to do, is growing, and we will have some more alfalfa sometime soon. And just looking here at the growth calendar, it is harvestable up till the end of July. We're currently in the beginning of May, so whether we get enough growth in the crop to be able to have a second round of harvesting, I'm not quite sure. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that, but we'll certainly be keeping an eye on it around the end of July to see whether we can go and get another cut off it, because that would be good to get some more hay taken off that and use that to bulk up our feed, which is really what we're using the hay for. The silage, grass silage and maize silage are the two fundamentals that we need at the moment. So anyhow, I'm just going to tidy these back up and we'll be back over to the yard. We'll drop this back off at the dealer. Like I said, it was just leased, and we may have to look at buying something like this in the future, but for now we will just make do with demoing this. We might even have a look and see if there is some other options out there that we could add into the game and use as well. I do know when you look under the mulches there is a couple of rollers as well, which I haven't tested out, but it'll be interesting to know whether they do all exactly the same thing as the mulch does. But look, one little spot down here, we've come all this way, we'll get it tidied up. So there we are, all done. We'll get things picked up, turned off and head back over to the yard. So back here at the yard, we're just going to go and get the tractor put away over here in the shed, and I think that will pretty much do us for this episode. I don't think we've got much else we can do. We do probably have enough milk we could go and sell, but I'm kind of mindful of the fact we are actually going to have to skip forward time a little bit over the next, or between now and the next episode, to get towards something productive that we can do. I'm not sure whether we are going to have our grass over the back here ready to go. We're just going to take a look at that very quickly. Whether this grass field is going to be ready to harvest, I know it says it's ready at the moment, but again, I have checked and it does have a few more growth stages on it to go yet, and in fact I think the fully grown grass is probably just about as tall as these weeds here once it is done. So we're going to leave that to get to its most optimum yield, but I'm not sure whether that will happen before the corn is ready to be made into silage or before the oats are ready to harvest. So we'll just have to play that a little bit by ear. But like I said, I'm mindful of the fact that we're going to have to do a little bit of stock food and milk selling as we go through, and we might do that, might record it and just have that at the intro to the very next episode so you can see a little bit of our progression in our income, because I imagine if we can sell a couple more tanker loads of milk over the coming next month or two, then we're going to be looking pretty good in terms of how much money we have in our bank account. Particularly when you have a look here in the map, the corn is at a very early stage of growth, oats a little bit more advanced, and like I said, the grass is showing as harvestable, but it certainly does have some more growing and some more profit to be made into there. The other thing, as I was looking in our time-saving stock check, is come July we're going to have to make sure we can sell all of those soybeans and realise that income, and like I said, we've got another good amount of milk sitting there ready to be sold. So as for the calendar, oats aren't ready until July, and our corn certainly isn't mature until October, but of course we can chop that a little bit earlier here in the August-September windows. So we've got a few months to jump through before we will be into anything more meaningful here on the farm. So stay tuned for what the next episode might bring, because it could see some quite interesting and exciting developments here for the Canadian cattle farmer. But that is enough from me for this episode. Hope you have enjoyed it. Hope the little demo there of the alfalfa and having to mulch that will help some of you out in your own playthroughs in your own series, and understanding what the best way to get your alfalfa regrowing like it is grass is to get down there and mulch it, which is a little bit of a learning for me, but pleased that I've figured that out, and hopefully I can help you along the way. As always, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next one.